Good day to everyone. Kami po ay ang Group 1. Ang topic po na napunta sa amin is yung Chapter 1, Introduction to Highway Engineering and Traffic Analysis and the Philippine Transportation System. Introductions to Highway and the Economy. Ito po yung aking i-report. Introduction. Highways have played a key role in the development and sustainability of human civilization from ancient times to the present. Today, in the US and throughout the world, highways continues to dominate the transportation system, providing critical access for the acquisition of natural resources, industrial production, retail marketing, and population mobility. The influence of highway transportation on the economic, social, and political fabric of nation is far-reaching, and as a consequence, highways have been studied for decades as cultural, political, and economic phenomenon. While industrial needs and economic forces have clearly played an important part in shaping highway network societies, fundamental desires for access to activities and affordable land has generated significant highway demand, which has helped define and shape highway network. So sinasabi sa slide na ito na ang mga highways ay naging parte na ng ating pamumuhay, kultura, politika at ekonomiya. Noong unang panahon pa man ay ginagamit na ito at may malaking role ito sa pagpapanatili ng kaunlaran ng society. In the 21st century, the role of highways in the transportation system continues to evolve. In most nations, the enormous investment in highway transportation infrastructure that occurred in the middle of the last century, which included the construction of the U.S. Interstate Highway System, the largest infrastructure project in human history, has now given way to infrastructure, maintenance and rehabilitation improvements in operational efficiency, various traffic congestion, relief measures, energy conservation, improved safety, and environmental mitigation. This shift has forced a new emphasis in highway engineering and traffic analysis, one that requires a new skill set, a deeper understanding of the impact of highway decision. So, in 20th century, ang role ng highway sa transportation system ay patuloy na nagbabago o nagkakaroon ng innovation sa paglipas ng panahon. Layunin nito na mas mapadali at mas safety ang pag-travel ng mga vehicle or any mode of transportation. Mas komportable at convenient ito para sa mga passengers and drivers. Mas makaka-travel na mabilis at makakatipid sa oras at nare-reduce nito ang mga accidents. Highways and the economy. It is difficult to overstate the influence that highway transportation has on the economy of nations. Highway system have direct effect on industries that supply vehicles and equipment to support highway transportation and the industries that are involved in highway construction and maintenance. Highway systems are also vital to manufacturing and retail supply chains and distribution systems, and serve as regional and national economic engines. So dito sa highways and the economy, malaki ang naging impluwensya ng highways sa paglago ng ekonomiya. Dahil hindi lamang ito ginagamit upang daanan ng mga vehicle, ngunit ginagamit rin ito sa pangangalakal, sa pag-supply ng vehicles and equipment to support highway transportation at sa industriya ng bansa. The highway economy. In the US, more than 15% of average household income is spent on highway vehicle purchases, maintenance, and other vehicle expenditures. As consequence, the industries providing vehicles and vehicle services for highway transportation have an enormous economic influence. So, sabi dito, sa US daw, more than 15% of average household income ay napupunta sa highway vehicles, maintenance, and other vehicle expenditures. Ang industry ay nagpo-provide ng vehicles at services for highway transportation na may malaking impluwensya sa ekonomiya. In the US alone, in the light vehicle market, cars, vans, pickup trucks, and so on, as many as 16 million or more new vehicles can be sold annually. depending on economic conditions, which translates to over $400 billion in sales and more than a million jobs in manufacturing and manufacturing supplier industries. Add to this the additional employment associated with vehicle maintenance and servicing. And more than 5 million US jobs can be tied directly to highway vehicles. So sabi dito, ang highway economy sa bansang US ay malaking ang naitutulong sa mga tao dahil sa pamamagitan nito, nagbibigay ito ng trabaho na related sa highway vehicles na nagdudulot ito sa paglago ng ekonomiya ng kanilang bansa. So, the influence of the highway economy extend further to the heavy vehicle sector as well, with more than 1.3 million jobs and billions of dollars expended annually by trucking, freight movement, and other industries in conducting operation expanding, replacing, and maintaining their fleets of commercial vehicles in the U.S. The direct influence that highways have also extend to construction and maintenance highways with over $200 billion in annual expenditures in the U.S. alone. This too has an enormous impact on employment and other aspects of the economy. Ang highway economy, gaya ng sinabi ko sa naunang slide, nagbibigay ito ng mga benefits sa tao sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng trabaho na nakatulong sa kanilang pamumuhay at sa iba pang aspect ng economy. So that's it.
So hello everyone. Good afternoon, and my report is about supply chains, economic development, highways, energy, and environment. Supply chains, the survival of modern economies predicted on efficient and reliable supply chains. Industries have become increasingly dependent on their supply chains to reduce costs and remain competitive. So, supply chain is a simple network that connects a company to supplier of raw materials. It is also to deliver a product to customer. Just-in-time delivery or JIT delivery to reduce inventory-related costs, which can be a substantial percentage of total costs in many industries. The ability of highways to provide reliable service for JIT inventory control and other supply chain related industrial and retail application has made highways critical to the function of modern economies. So, dahil nga nauso ang tinatawag na JIT or Just-in-Time Delivery, ito yung kilala nating mga delivery company tulad ng JNT, GoGo Express, LBC. Sila yung mga Just-in-Time Delivery, which is marami sa mga company ay dependent dito bukod sa mas convenient ito sa seller, ganun din sa buyer. Dahil na-monitor nito or nami-minimize yung delivery time niya. Also, it reduces cost throughout the supply chain and will remain competitive. So, ayun nga, malaki yung role ng highways upang maging effective ang supply chain. Highways should provide reliable service for JIT dahil malaki ang factor na maayos na daan para hindi magkaroon ng delay sa part ng consumer and hindi bumaba ang value ng product. So, the second one nga is economic development. It has long been recognized that highway construction and improvements to the highway network can positively influence economic development. Ayun nga, no? Malaki yung influence ng transportation sa economy nito dahil mas papadali niya yung pagdi-deliver ng mga products dahil sa alternative routes and highways na ginawa. So, mas mag-grow pa lalo yung ekonomiya ng ating bansa dahil maraming mga products ang nagtatransport sa iba't ibang lugar. So, the last one is highways, energy, and environment. As energy demands and supplies vary, and nations become increasingly concerned about environmental impacts, the role that highway transportation play has come under close scrutiny. As a primary consumer of fossil fuel and a major contributor to airborne pollution, highway transportation is an obvious target for energy conservation and environmental impact mitigation efforts. So dahil nga madami na ang sasakyan at mga highway na nagagawa, syempre madami na din yung nagko-consume ng fuel or gas sa ating bansa. Kaya tumataas na din yung kaso ng air pollution dahil nasisira o nagkakatama na yung natin, environment. Kaya mas maganda rin na binibigyan natin ng pansin yung masusing pag-aaral sa mga sasakyan at iba-iba pang transportasyon para malesin din natin yung paggamit ng environment, yung pagkasira ng environment. Example dito is yung mga sasakyan sa EDSA. Siyempre, di ba traffic doon, di ba? Pag maraming sasakyan, nagsasaniyo ng sobrang pagkainit dahil sa mga usok na binubuga din ng mga galing sa iba't ibang sasakyan. So, ayun lang po. Thank you.
Magandang araw sa ating lahat. I am Owilin Aldaya. My report is a continuation of the second reporter. Highways as part of the transportation system. Highway transportation is a part of a larger transportation system that includes air, rail, water, and pipeline transportation. In this system, highways are the dominant mode of most passengers and freight movements. Alam naman natin na sa transportation ng goods at ng most passengers, highways ang pinaka nagagamit natin. That includes air, rail, water, and pipeline transportation. For passengers, there's airplane for air, train and subways for rail, and boat and ferries for water. For freights, there are air cargos, water or sea cargo. There is also pipeline transportation na ginagamit for transportation of solid, liquid, or gaseous products through system of pipes. 90% of travelers and or passengers uses highway as their mode of transportation. 37% naman ng freight ang gumagamit ng highways as their transportation system. And 80% ng mga dollar value ng mga goods ay transported by commercial trucks through highways. Highway play a dominant role in both passengers and freight. In many applications, there are critical interfaces among the various transportation modes. For example, many air, rail, water, and pipeline freights movements involve highway transportation at some point for their initial collection and final distribution. Highway transportation and human element. Within the highway transportation system, passenger options include single-occupant private vehicles, multi-occupant private vehicles, and public transportation modes such as bus. It is critical to develop a basic understanding of the effect that highway-related products and policies may have on the individual highway modes of travel. Because of the distribution of travel among modes will strongly influence overall highway system performance. In addition, highway safety and changing demographics of highway users are important considerations. As passengers, we have options on what type of private vehicles ang gagamitin as transportation system. But thinking of it, deciding on what vehicle to ride will strongly influence highway system performance. For example, sa 5 kotse na puro isang passenger lang ang sakay, if they would take a public transportation, how much space sa road ang magiging free? Passenger transportation modes and traffic congestion. The available urban transportation modes such as bus, commuter train, subway, private vehicle, and others, private vehicles and single-occupant private vehicle in particular, offer an unequal level of mobility. Why they offer an equal level of mobility? If you have private car or rented a private car, you can go straight to your destination, unlike if you are taking a public transportation. Aside from stop to take other passengers, you will take more than one vehicle if malayo yung destination mo before reaching your destination. The single-occupant private vehicle has been a dominant choice that travelers have been willing to pay substantial capital and operating costs, confront high levels of congestion, and struggle with parking-related problems just to have the flexibility in travel departure, time, and destination choices that is unequally provided by private vehicles. As I've said a while ago, Private vehicles like taxi causes congestion and struggle yung pagpapark. In the last 50 years, the percentage of trips taken in private vehicles has risen from slightly less than 70% to over 90%. Public transit and other modes make up the balance. Over this same period, the average private vehicle occupancy has dropped from 1.22 to 1.09 persons per vehicle, reflecting the fact that single occupant vehicle has become an increasingly dominant mode of travel. Especially now that pandemic has occurred, it is safer and more convenient para sa atin to travel with private vehicles. Now that we are modernized, you don't have to wait outside. You can book your ride through your phone, and that makes private transportation a dominant mode of travel.
The topic assigned to me will be highway safety and demographic trends. Dealing with highway safety is costly, and even with the effort of designing a safe way, we still cannot avoid casualties and this result to reduce productivity. And because of that po, the efforts that concern people do to improve the safety of highways have become more intense as time passes. And due to that, there are new highway design guidelines implemented as a countermeasure to reduce the frequent and severe accident happening on highways. Good thing po is that the efforts made by the concerned people to improve the design manage to, to lower down the casualties and number of fatalities per mile driven. Although as we can read on the next part, kahit napababa na po yung casualties is medyo mataas pa din talaga yung number of mortalities every year on some countries like US. According to this slide, the improved mobility of highways po made the migration of people from center cities to the suburbs to be possible. And because of this mobility po, people are able to improve their quality of life by gaining access to affordable housing and land, while still being able to work on central cities. For example po, may mga nakatira sa mga city na considered na suburb ang naghahanap ng trabaho sa mga central cities like Metro Manila. Kaso since natatraffic sila, napipilitan yung iba na sa Metro Manila na lang din tumira para nakasave sila ng time sa traffic congestion. Also, mas malapit na yung ita-travel nila. However, a different trend has emerged. Employment centers have developed in the suburbs and now provide a viable alternative to the suburbs. Halimbawa po nito ay yung mga firms and BPO companies na nagtatayo ng employment center nila sa mga suburb cities. So ang nangyayari po ay imbes na mag-travel sila from suburb to central city, nagiging suburb to suburb cities na lang din po yung commute. Hanggang dito na lang po yung topic ko and thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. I'm Dorothy Pagatua, and I'm going to discuss the highways and evolving technologies. As in all fields, technological advances at least offer the promise of solving complex problems. And for highways and evolving technologies, it classified into those impacting infrastructure, vehicles, and traffic control. Infrastructure technologies, 20th and 21st centuries, investments in highway infrastructures have been made continuously. Such investments have understandably varied over the years in response to need and political and national priorities. For example, during the 1960s and 1970s in the US is an extraordinary capital investment in highways. It was undertaken by constructing the interstate highway system and upgrading and constructing many other highways. According to research, the Dwight D. Eisenhower National System of Interstate and Defense Highways, commonly known as the Interstate Highway System, is a network of controlled access highways that forms part of the national highway system in the United States. Year 1950, they were intended to serve several purposes. The first one is to eliminate traffic congestion, to replace what one highway advocate called undesirable slum areas with pristine ribbons of concrete, to make coast-to-coast transportation more efficient, and to make it easy to get out of big cities in case of an atomic attack. There has never been another time or place with the economic and political conditions that allowed for such a large-scale construction program. In the current economic and political climate, it is difficult to believe that a project of the magnitude of the interstate highway system would ever be given serious consideration. This is due to the high expenses of site acquisitions and constructions as well as the resulting effects on the local economy and environment. It is also important to realize that highways are long-lasting investments because it requires maintenance and rehabilitation at regular intervals. The legacy of a major capital investment in highway infrastructure is the proportionate maintenance and rehabilitation schedule that will follow. Although there are sometimes compelling reasons to defer maintenance and rehabilitation, including the associated construction costs and the impact of the reconstructions on traffic. Such deferral can result in the unacceptable losses in mobility and safety as well as more costly rehabilitation later. There is a strong emphasis on developing and applying new technologies to more economically construct and extend the life of new facilities. These include the development and application of new sensing technologies in the emerging field of structural health monitoring. Such technological advances are essential elements in the future of highway infrastructure. Vehicle technologies. Until the 1970s, vehicle technologies evolved slowly and often in response to mild trends in the vehicle market as opposed to an underlying trend toward technological development. Beginning in the 1970s, however, three factors began a cycle of unparalleled advances in vehicle technology that continues to this day. The first one is government regulation on air quality, fuel efficiency, and vehicle occupant safety. Two, energy shortages and fuel price increases. And last, intense competition among vehicle manufacturers, foreign and domestic. These factors combined have led to car buyers who demand trying to cut technologies at highly competitive rates. To meet this demand, manufacturers have discovered that it is necessary to redistribute resources and reorganize the manufacturing and inventory control processes. The widespread adoption of new technologies such as supplemental restraint systems, anti-lock brake systems, traction control systems, electronic stability control, and a host of other applications of new technologies to improve the safety and comfort in highway vehicles has been driven by consumer demand and manufacturer competition in recent years. There is a little doubt that the combination of significant customers' demand and fierce competition in the vehicle industry that will continue to drive technological advancements in vehicles. The development of automotive technology is essential to the highway systems. These innovations have been direct impact on how roads are built and how traffic is managed, and they are crucial factors in ensuring high levels of mobility and safety. Highway engineers must be aware of the connections between vehicle technology and design and how to operate them.
Hello, my name is Trixie May Bangi. And the next report is about traffic control technologies. Traffic control technologies, intersection traffic signals are a familiar traffic control technology and also known as street lights. It signalizes intersection. The trade-off is between mobility and safety is brought into sharp focus. Ito yung mga traffic control technologies natin. Ito yung mga electronic devices located at intersection that control the sequence of the lights, along with computers, communication equipments, and detectors to count and measure the traffic. Today, signals at critical intersection can be designed to respond quickly to prevailing traffic flows. Groups of signals can be coordinated to provide a smooth through flow of traffic, and in some cases, computer controls entire networks of signals. So, this is the example ng common control devices. Ayan yung traffic lights natin. Yung red means stop, yellow for wait, and green for go, na para malayo pa lang, alam mo na kung hihinto ka ba, mag-slow ka ba, or mag-go ka. At ito rin, meron din na tayong mga devices na makikita or ginagamit yung mga inventors at mga natin na binibilang nila kung ilan yung mga sasakyan na dumadaan sa daanan na yon sa isang araw or sa isang oras, at gaano kabilis yung mga sasakyan na nandun. Para din kaya nila to ginawa para rin sa safety ng tao, na para hindi magkarambolan sa gitna ng kalsada at merong time para sa passage ng tao at sa passage ng mga sasakyan, para ba maging organized. Next, scope of the study. Highway engineering and traffic analysis involve an extremely complex interaction of economic, behavioral, social, political, environmental, and technological factors. This complexity makes a highway engineering and traffic analysis far more challenging than typical engineering disciplines that tend to have an overriding focus on only the technical aspect of the problem. So sabi nga nung last reporter na sa highway ang pinaka maraming data na nagagamit. Kumbaga ito talaga yung pinaka-convenient sa lahat ng discipline ng engineering. So, to be sure, the technical challenges encountered in highway engineering and traffic analysis easily rival the most complex technical problems encountered in any other engineering discipline. However, it is the economic, behavioral, social, political, and environmental elements that introduce a level complexity unequaled by any other engineering discipline.